First stop this morning already has revealed how the alien smuggling organizations operate over 80 miles into the United States. But one thing I can tell you that these detectives know very well is that what gets by them impacts the rest of this country.
Here we go, here we go, here we go. Bail out, bail out. Driver's wearing a green shirt. Run, run! There's bodies in the bed.
First stop out of the morning.
Yep.
Great job.
I have even testified about that before Congress at least 4 times in the past, that the most significant homeland security and public safety threat was an unsecured international border with Mexico, and that as a result of that, the Mexican cartels had become the most powerful and ruthless and depraved criminal organizations in the world.
Fentanyl is the leading cause of death amongst Americans between the ages of 18 and 45, over 107,000 deaths. This should be the main topic of conversation. In Arizona last year alone, 33 children lost their lives to fentanyl poisonings. 7 were under the age of 1 year old. That statistic alone.
Wait, what? Under 1?
Under 1. What's important to understand about that statistic is that fentanyl is not just taking the lives of Americans who consume a drug. Fentanyl is taking the lives of those who might be around those who are consuming drugs. That alone should get every politician unelected because they have failed the American people.
Our kids are being murdered. These children are not dying because of overdoses. These children are dying because they're being poisoned by what they believe is a pharmaceutical pill. I'm never going to see my daughter again, ever. And I have to do this every day so that another mom doesn't feel this. I will do it.
Find representatives that represent their values and take an honest look at it, because I believe that we are, through an open border policy, that if we don't do something and make a course correction pretty quick, that the country that we've grown accustomed to and love is not going to be the same one that we're going to leave our kids for.
Rob, good evening. I'm here in Philadelphia tonight at what law enforcement here calls ground zero for the open fentanyl market. And the reason we're here is because we're always talking about what's happening at the southwest border, but the problem is the impact to Americans is not truly being shown. So we've come to ground zero on the East Coast, where what we've seen in the last few days, I have to tell you, is human tragedy like I've not really seen during my career. What is happening to our own citizens here in this city is absolutely unacceptable. But Rob, here's the issue. The connection to the Sinaloa cartel, according to law enforcement that I've been talking to out here for the last 2 days, is that the Sinaloa cartel brings in the fentanyl, heroin, and methamphetamine and cocaine. From there it goes to Dominican gangs, and from there to street-level criminals who are selling it to the folks here. The problem, though, is that connection, that linkage to the border and the impact to Americans is not truly being made. And that's why we've come here so far into the country to try to show the linkages and ties. Because, look, I've got to tell you, Philly has been hit extremely hard. Last year, in 21, they lost just under 1,300 citizens. And of those citizens lost, 94% of them had fentanyl in their system. And it's an example of what's taken place here is directly linked to these cartels and to the Mexican government. And I say that to you because our government, the United States, has not taken on the Mexican cartels. They have not held the Mexican government accountable, nor have they the Sinaloa cartel for the damage that they have caused to so many citizens across this country. I just want to say one last thing here, too. Today I spoke to a 30-year-old woman who's been living on these streets for 2.5 years. And Rob, I asked her, I said, if I could tell the American people anything about what you're going through out here and what it's like, what could I tell them on your behalf? And she immediately started crying, and she told me, she said, you tell them that we're not all bad people out here. We just made some bad mistakes. And that's what's taking place on the ground out here, day in, day out.